Hello students, so here we are into zoology NEET class. So today we are going to learn about the dihybrid crosses. Okay, so in our previous classes we have learned taking one gene into consideration. So now inheritance using two genes into consideration we are going to learn. That is, we are going to learn about dihybrid crosses. Okay, dihybrid cross. So earlier in a monohybrid cross, Mendel has taken those plants which were having differences only in one character. Now we are going to take into consideration the plants which are differing in two characters. Okay, so Mendel has crossed a plant which was, Mendel has crossed a pea plant which was having yellow colored and round shaped seeds. Okay, he took the character yellow colored and round shaped seeds. This is one character, and he has taken, these are the characters of one plant, and the other plant he has taken was green colored wrinkled seeds. Okay, green colored wrinkled seeds. Okay, he has taken yellow colored round shaped seeds and green colored wrinkled seeds. So as a result, in this cross he obtained that all the plants which were obtained in the F1 generation, all the F1s were yellow colored, all the F1s were having yellow colored and round shaped seeds. They were all having yellow colored and round shaped seeds. Okay, all the plants they were having yellow colored round shaped seeds only. So from this observation it is very clear that which character is dominant. In the F1 generation, yellow colored round shaped seeds have appeared. So having yellow colored round shaped seeds in the F1 parent and green colored wrinkle shaped seeds in the other parent, the offsprings in F1 generation they have obtained yellow colored round shaped seeds. From this we can understand that this yellow color and round shape, these are the dominant characters. These are the dominant characters. Okay, it is very clearly identified that these are the dominant characters. Okay, so now because these are dominant characters, we are going to give the gene which is there for color, we are going to give dominant allele with capital Y, and we are going to give capital Y to a dominant allele for the seed color. We are just going to give that particular alphabet to it. Capital Y is indicating the dominant allele for the seed color, because this yellow color, okay, yellow color is due to this dominant allele capital Y. Small y is indicating the recessive allele for the seed color. Okay, in the same way round shape was dominant, so we are giving capital R for the dominant shape, dominant allele for the seed shape, and we are giving small r for the recessive allele for the seed shape. Okay, so in this way we are giving the allele symbols capital Y for the dominant allele for seed color. That means capital Y is responsible for yellow color and small y is responsible for the round, small y is responsible for the green color. So it is a recessive allele for the seed color. Okay, and small capital R is so this capital R is the dominant allele for the seed shape. Capital R is the dominant allele for the seed shape. Okay. So students, here small r is indicating the recessive allele for the seed shape. That means the allele responsible for the wrinkled character. Okay. So what were the results in the F1 generation? All were yellow colored round shaped seeds. Okay. Now let us see what happened in the F2 generation. Okay, let us see what happened in the F2 generation. in the F2 generation, when he crossed the F1 yellow round seeds with the F1 yellow round seeds, then he obtained, okay, then he obtained that 3/4 of the seeds were yellow in color. 3/4 of the seeds were yellow in color. As a result, in the F2 generation, 3/4 of the seeds were yellow in color, and 1/4 of the seeds were green in color. 1/4 of the seeds were green in color. So here students, in the F2 generation, yellow is to green ratio was 3:1. Okay, and 3/4 of the seeds were round in shape, and 1/4 of the seeds were wrinkled. Okay, so here the round is to wrinkled ratio. Round is to wrinkled ratio is 3:1 only. Okay, round is to wrinkled ratio is 3:1 only. So here from this observation, Mendel has concluded that the inheritance of these two characters, the seed color and seed shape, these two they are showing when we are considering them separately. We are here considering only the seed color, right? So yellow is to green, it is 3:1 ratio. And here we are considering only seed shape, round is to wrinkled, it is 3:1. So here when we are taking only one character into consideration, the inheritance pattern was same as that of monohybrid cross. Monohybrid cross phenotypic ratio was also 3:1 only in the F2. Right, in the F2 generation, monohybrid cross phenotypic ratio was also 3:1 only. Here also, when though we are considering two characters, if we are separating the two characters individually, we have observed that 3:1 ratio is only seen in the F2 generation also. Okay, so here few more observations were made by Mendel, that if the characters were considered together, as we have considered earlier that yellow round seeds and like green and wrinkled seeds, though both the characters together, seed shape and seed color together, then he had made different observations. He has found that some of the non-parental combinations were also seen in the F1 and F2 individuals. He has observed that some of the non-parental combinations were also observed in the F2 generations. Okay, like he has observed yellow round seeds. Okay, yellow round seeds, and he observed yellow wrinkled seeds, okay. He observed green round seeds, okay. He observed green round seeds, he observed green and wrinkled seeds. Okay, so these two characters were seen in parents, yellow round and green wrinkle were seen in the parents, but yellow wrinkled and green round seeds were not seen in the parents. So these two are the new combinations, okay. So these two were the new combinations which have been observed, okay. So it was like out of all the individuals obtained, they were in the ratio of 9:3:3:1. Okay, they were all in this ratio 9:3:3:1. Okay, so when it was considered as whole, you can observe one that they are showing a phenotypic ratio of 9:3:3:1. This ratio is showing us the phenotypic ratio. This is a phenotypic ratio which we will be observing from the Punnett square. We will observe this later on. Okay. So, here parental combinations are seen and also new combinations are also seen. They are exhibiting a phenotypic ratio 9:3:3:1. Okay. So, here it is very clear that new combinations are seen. Why did this happen? This was explained by another law of inheritance proposed by Mendel, that is law of segregation, law of independent assortment. Okay. Law of independent assortment. Okay. This law of independent assortment is saying that the two alleles, okay, the two alleles of a gene, they segregate independent of each other. Okay. The two alleles of a gene, they segregate independent of each other. Okay. They segregate independent of each other. The two alleles of a gene, they segregate independent of each other. Okay. That is why we are able to see new combinations. Yellow is combining with the wrinkled seed shape, green is combining with the round seed shape. It is just because the two alleles are segregating independent of each other. Okay. So, let us see what is exactly happening. So, the F1 individual was capital Y small, I will just do the cross once, capital Y, capital Y, capital R, capital R. If this individual is yellow and round seeded individual, it is crossed with small y, small r, small r, which is a green and wrinkled seeded individual. Because of the two gametes are same, the two alleles are same, Y is indicating the seed color, R is indicating the seed shape. Okay. Because here the two alleles are same, only gametes containing Y. Okay, the gametes contain Y and the other chromosome is R, right, the other allele is R. So, they contain R, this will be the gamete. Okay, they contain both the alleles, they contain Y allele, they contain R allele also. Okay. Here when come to this green wrinkled individual, they contain Y allele and they also contain R allele. Y and R, both of them are same, so only Y and R alleles are formed. Okay. Next, from these two gametes, F1 individual is going to form, he will have a capital Y, a small y, a capital R and a small r. Okay. Because we have already studied that Y and capital R are dominant alleles showing yellow and round shape. So, this F1 individual will be a yellow round individual. He is going to produce yellow round seeds. Okay. This individual is producing yellow round seeds. Okay. Now, what kind of gametes are produced by this individual is important. See, because capital Y and small y are the two possible types of alleles for this seed color. Half of the gametes contain capital Y and half of the gametes should contain small y. Half of the gametes should contain capital Y, half of the gametes should contain small y. Okay. 50%, I will just write it. 50% of them contain capital Y and the other 50% contain small y. Okay. And capital R, small r is also same. They are two different alleles. So, capital R is possessed by 50% of the gametes, small r is possessed by the other 50% of gametes. So, 50% of gametes contain capital R and the other 50% contain small r. Okay. So, that means there is an equal chance for every gamete to be present in a equal chance for every allele to go into a gamete, and half of the gametes will contain each type of allele. So, this capital Y allele, it may contain along with it capital R or small r. Capital Y gamete, capital Y allele, along with it, it may contain capital R or it may contain small r. Okay. Capital Y alleles contain, they may contain capital R or they may contain small r. Same is with the case of small y. Small y, they may contain capital R or small y may contain small r also. So, these are the 4 possible type of gametes formed. Okay. Capital Y, small y, these will be any of these two will be present. Same with capital R, small r, any of these two may be present. So, capital I, capital R may be present, or capital Y, small r may be present, small y, capital R, small y, small r, any of these 4 combinations may be present. So, here every allele is produced in only 25% of the gametes. Okay, only 25% of gametes are similar to each other. Okay, so we have earlier studied, right, 50% of the gametes possess one allele, 50% of the gametes possess another allele. In the same way, 25% of the gametes possess one combination of alleles, the other 25 contain another combination of alleles. In that way, every 25% of the gametes contain different combinations of alleles. So, chances for having each combination of alleles is only 25%. Chances for having each combination of alleles is only 25%. Okay. Let us make this cross using a Punnett square and see what will be the results using these gametes. Okay. So, any of them, pollen or egg, any of them, they may contain only all those 4 types of alleles. So, capital Y, capital R, capital Y, small y, capital R, small y, small r. These are the possible type of gametes which can be present in a male, in a gamete, in a pollen or in an egg. Capital Y, capital R, capital Y, small y, capital R, small y, small r. So, now when we take this Punnett square and do this combinations with capital Y, capital R first, capital Y, capital R, capital Y, capital R, capital Y, capital Y, capital R, capital R. Okay. So, this individual will be a yellow round individual. Okay. The seeds will be yellow round. Now, capital Y, capital R, capital Y, small r, capital Y, capital Y, capital R, small r. Small r is recessive, so these also contain yellow round seeds. Okay. Now, capital Y, small y, capital Y, small y, capital R, capital R. So, because this individual will be also yellow round, because Y allele is recessive, this individual also contains yellow round seeds. Okay. Now, capital Y, small y, capital Y, small y, capital R, small r, capital R, small r. So, there are 2 recessive alleles, 2 dominant alleles are also there. So, this individual will be yellow round only. This individual will be also yellow round individual only. Okay. Then next we have capital Y, capital small r, capital Y. This we are going to do with the entire column. Okay. Capital Y, capital Y, capital R, small r, capital Y, small r. Here, capital Y, small y, capital R, small r. Okay. Capital Y, small r, small r. Okay. So, let us see what these individuals will be. Capital Y, so yellow, capital R is present, so round. Capital Y, so yellow, small r's, 2 small r's are present, 2 small r's, they are recessive, they cause wrinkled character. So, this will be wrinkled, yellow wrinkled. capital Y, capital R, small r. This will be yellow round. Okay. Capital Y, small r, small r. Because there is a capital Y, it will be yellow color. Two small r's are present, so it will be a round shape. Okay. Sorry, yeah, wrinkled shape. Wrinkled shape. Okay. Now again, with this and all the entire 4 gametes. Capital Y, capital R, capital R. Capital Y, capital R, small r. Okay. Okay. Small y, capital R, capital R. Small y, capital R, small r. Okay. So let us see what their phenotypes are. So capital Y, capital R, capital R. So it's a yellow round. Okay. Capital Y, capital R, small r. Again a yellow round. Okay. Two small y's, two capital R. So it will be a green round. Okay. Two small y's and capital R, small r. So it will be also a green round. Okay. Now with this, with all these gametes, capital Y, capital R, small r, capital Y, small r, small r, small y, capital R, small r, small y, small r, small r. So now these gametes would be yellow round, this will be yellow wrinkled, this will be green round, this will be green wrinkled. Okay. So this is going to be how they appear. So now let us first see how many of them are yellow round. Okay, let's count now. Yellow round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, right. So I'll just underline them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Okay. So yellow round 9. Yellow round is to yellow wrinkled. We will count yellow wrinkled. Okay. So yellow wrinkled, I am underlining them. So yellow wrinkled 1, 2 and 3. Okay. So how many are there yellow wrinkled? 3. Now we will see green round. Okay. We will see green round. Green round 1, 2, 3. 3 again. Okay. We are now seeing green wrinkled. Green wrinkled only 1. So what is the phenotypic ratio of yellow is to yellow round is to yellow wrinkled is to green round is to green wrinkled? It is 9:3:3:1. This is the phenotypic ratio of a dihybrid cross. Okay. This is a phenotypic ratio. This is a phenotypic ratio of a dihybrid cross. This is a phenotypic ratio of a dihybrid cross. Okay. So students, here we have seen that there are totally 16 squares here, but they are showing only 4 different phenotypes, right. They are showing 4 different phenotypes. It is not also like there are 4 phenotypes, so there are only 4 genotypes, or it is not like there are 16 squares, so 16 genotypes. It is not like that. Now let us see what are the genotypes present here in this dihybrid cross. What are the types of genotypes are present in this dihybrid cross? Let us observe. Okay. So we have now got the phenotypic ratio. Let us see the genotypes. Okay. So first, capital Y, we will write all at once, capital Y, capital R, capital R. There are no other capital Y, small r, capital R. So that is all. Then we have capital Y, capital R, small r. Okay. Let us see how many of these are present. Capital Y, small, capital R, small r. 1 and 2, right? 1 and 2. Anything else? No, right? Nothing else. So we are seeing only one capital Y capital R, when we are seeing two capital Y capital R small r. Okay. Now let us see capital Y small y capital R capital R. Okay. Let us see capital Y small y capital R capital R. Whatever we are finished, we will circle it. Okay. Capital Y capital R capital R, 1, capital Y small y capital R 1 and 2. Okay. Anything else? No. So we have found 2 capital Y small y and capital R's, we have found 2. Okay. Now let us see capital Y small y capital R small r, capital Y small y capital R small r. Okay. So this will be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, right? Then we have we will see this capital Y small r, capital Y small r. How many are there? We will see. No others. So this is only 1. Okay, this is only 1. Then we will see capital Y small r, capital Y small r. How many are there? 1 and 2, right? We found 2. Then we will see small y capital R, small y capital R. So we have only 1. Okay. Then we have small y capital R small r, 1 and 2. So this will be 2. So small y small r, small y small r. This is only 1. Okay. So how many genotypes we have identified, students? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So totally we have observed 9 different types of genotypes. Okay. 9 different types of genotypes we have observed in case of a double in a dihybrid cross. Okay. 9 different genotypes we have observed. So this genotypes we can give the same ratio, however we consider the ratio is going to change, but generally it is like 1:2:1:2:4:1:2:1:2:2. Okay, so anyhow we will consider this only. This is how the genotypes of the dihybrid ratio are like. Okay, so students, with this we finished to learn completely about the dihybrid ratio. Okay. Phenotypic ratios, and we have observed the genotypes also. Totally 4 phenotypes and 9 genotypes. Totally how many phenotypes are obtained in a dihybrid cross? 4 phenotypes are observed and 9 genotypes were observed in a dihybrid cross. Okay, in a dihybrid cross we have observed 4 phenotypes and 9 genotypes. Okay. Now we are going to learn about the next concept, that is intergenic interactions. Okay, intergenic interactions. Before we learn about intergenic interactions, we need to learn few concepts. See students, living organisms are mostly diploid. Okay, living organisms are mostly diploid. They have 2 sets of chromosomes. They have 2 sets of chromosomes. That means the 2 chromosomes are same. Okay, they may have how many ever chromosomes? Every chromosome will be having its pair. So every chromosome will occur in pairs. So every gene will have its the same type of gene on the other chromosome also. So those 2 pairs of sets of chromosomes are nothing. Having 2 sets of chromosomes is nothing but diploid. In a diploid condition, chromosomes, they occur in pairs. Chromosomes occur in pairs. Okay. Each pair of chromosomes, each pair of the chromosomes are called as homologous chromosomes. Homologous chromosomes. Okay. Homologous chromosomes, means each pair of chromosomes is called as homologous chromosomes. Okay, and every gene will have the same, every gene will exist in 2 chromosomes, every gene will exist in 2 chromosomes. So, the gene which is present on both the chromosomes, the gene will have 2 copies present on both the chromosomes. So, those 2 copies of genes present on both the chromosomes are called as alleles. Okay, 2 copies of genes present on both the chromosomes are called as alleles. Okay, the location of the gene on the homologous chromosome is called as loci. Okay, simply called locus in singular, loci is plural. Okay, the location of these alleles on the homologous chromosomes is called as loci. Okay, locus is singular. Now, coming back to our concept, intergenic interactions. See, these intergenic interactions are the interactions between the non-allelic genes. Okay, it is the interaction between non-allelic genes. That means these two are not the alleles of the same gene. These two are not the alleles of the same gene, but still these genes are interacting. Okay, now intergenic interactions means interaction between the non-allelic genes, interaction between the non-allelic genes is called as intergenic interactions. That means the two genes which are not having their alleles, not same genes, okay, the two alleles which are not belonging to the same gene will be interacting with each other. That is called non-allelic gene interactions, or nothing but intergenic interactions. Okay, so these intergenic interactions are of different types, like the presence of complementary genes or supplementary genes, epistasis. These are all the different examples for intergenic interactions. Okay, so we will learn about the complementary genes in today's class. Okay, so here we are going to learn about complementary genes. First we will learn what are these complementary genes. So, complementary genes, okay, these are the non-allelic genes, these are the non-allelic genes, okay, which show same characters when alone. They show same characters when they are alone, okay, but when they are together, when these non-allelic genes, they are together, they show a different character, okay. When they are together, they show the same character. When they are together, they will be showing a different character, okay. So, let us learn it with an example. We are going to take into consideration the flower color in the sweet pea plant. Okay, we are going to take into consideration the flower color in a sweet pea plant. Okay. So, students, we are taking the flower color as an example for complementary gene interaction. Okay, here the flower color of sweet pea plant we are taking, that is Lathyrus odoratus. Okay, Lathyrus odoratus. So, there are two genes, capital C and capital P. These are the two genes, these are the dominant genes, okay, here, and small c and small p are the recessive genes. These two are the recessive genes, and here the capital C is responsible for the production of a pigment. It is responsible for the production of a pigment chromogen. Okay, it is responsible for the production of a pigment chromogen, and the capital P gene, it produces the enzyme which is converting chromogen, which converts chromogen into anthocyanin, which gives color to the flowers. Okay, this is how it works. Okay, so anthocyanin is formed by the enzyme produced by the P gene. Okay, so students, some substrate is there which is converted into chromogen by CLL, capital CLL. Chromogen is converted into anthocyanin by PLL. Okay, remember this equation. Substrate is something is converted into chromogen by CLL, and then this PLL is going to convert it into anthocyanin. This will give the color to the flowers. If there is no capital C, then substrate is not converted into chromogen. If there is even P, capital P also, chromogen is not formed, so there will be no formation of anthocyanin. There will be no formation of anthocyanin. If there is no substrate P, chromogen is formed, but still it cannot be converted into anthocyanin. Chromogen is formed, but still it cannot be converted into anthocyanin. There will be no color to the flower. In that way, these two genes are important for exhibiting the flower color. Otherwise, they will show the same character, white color flowers. Okay, capital C and capital P both should be present to give the flower color. If capital C is not present, chromogen is not formed, so no formation of anthocyanin. If capital P allele is not present, then chromogen is formed, but still anthocyanin cannot be formed, so no color. So both of them have to be present together to give the color to the flower. Okay, let us see the example. Let us see the cross. Okay. So the parent individuals will be capital C, small p, small p. This will be a white flower. This will be a white flower because there is no capital P. Okay, because there is no capital P, this will be a white flower. If it is crossed with small c, capital P. Here, because there is no capital C, this is also a white flower. Okay. Now, gametes produced will be capital C, small p. Here, gametes produced will be small c, capital P. Now, in the F1 individuals, capital C, small c, capital P, small p will be the F1 individuals. Okay. So, because both capital C and small p are present, capital C and capital P are present, this individual will show purple color flowers. This individual will show purple colored flowers. Okay. This individual will show purple colored flowers. Let us see what happens in the F2 generation. So, here I am going to write the possible type of gametes. So, the possible type of gametes will be capital C, capital P, capital C, small p, small c, capital P, small c, small p. Okay. The same will be here, capital C, capital P, capital C, small p, small c, capital P, small c, small p. Okay. So, let us make the crosses, capital C with this first, capital C, capital C, capital C, capital P, capital P. Okay. So, we will first finish off this line, capital C, capital P, small p, capital C, small c, capital P, capital P, capital C, small c, capital P, small p. So, here we see that two capital C's and two capital P's are present, one capital C and one capital P are enough to give the purple color, So, we have one capital C and capital P both are present. So, this will be also a purple colored flower. Both capital C, capital P are present. So, it is going to be a purple colored flower. Capital C, capital P are present. So, this is also going to be a purple colored flower. Okay. Now, again we have this one, capital C, capital P, small p, capital C, small p, capital C, small c, capital P, small p, capital C, small p, small p. Two capital C, capital P both are present. So, this is going to give a purple color to the flower. Here capital C is present, but capital P is not present. So, this will be a white colored flower. Now this will be a purple because capital C, capital P both are present, so this will be a purple colored flower. Capital C is present but capital P is not present, so this will be a white colored flower. Okay. Now again with this we are crossing the entire gametes. Capital C, small c, capital P, capital P. Capital C, small c, capital P, small p. Small c, capital P, capital P. Small c, capital P, small p. So here capital C and P are present, so this will be a purple flower. So capital C, capital P both are present, this will be also a purple flower. Okay. Capital C, small c, but both capital P's are present, because capital C is not present, this will be a white flower only. Okay. So two small c's are present, so this will be also definitely a white flower only. Okay. Now again we are crossing this one with all the four. So capital C, small c, capital P, small p, capital C, small c, small p, small p, small c, capital P, small p, small c, small p, small p. This will be the condition. So capital C, capital P both are present, so this will be giving purple colored flowers. Only capital C is present, capital P is not present. So this will be giving a white colored flowers. Capital C is not present, only capital P is present. So this will also give a white colored flowers. Both are not present, definitely this will be also a white colored flowers. So here in this way, if both capital C and capital P are present, then it would be a purple colored one. If any of those are not dominant, then it will be a white colored flower only. Even if there is capital C but no capital P, white. If capital P is present but no capital C, then also it will be white. So let us see the phenotypic and phenotypic ratio here. In this intergenic interactions, phenotypic ratios are going to be different, because whatever the dihybrid process we have seen earlier with the example of pea plants taken by Mendel, it was the allelic genes only. Okay, the same allelic genes are interacting. Here non-allelic genes are interacting. So the Mendelian ratios will be deviated in these intergenic interactions. So this ratio of this phenotypic ratio of this crosses will be extremely different. Okay, so let us take the purple is to white ratio. Okay, so I will circle the purple colors. Purple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So 9 were purple. Okay, and how many are white? Let us see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So all the remaining are white. So purple is to white ratio is 9 is to 7. Okay, purple is to white ratio is 9 is to 7. In this way the phenotypic ratio of a dihybrid cross is modified in case of intergenic interactions. All the intergenic interactions phenotypic ratios will be modified definitely. Okay, phenotypic ratio is modified, then obviously genotypic ratio will be also modified. So here this is about complementary gene interactions. Ratios you need to remember, students. Ratios you need to remember. This is the ratio of complementary gene interaction. It is the ratio of complementary gene interaction. Questions can be asked on this in ratios. Questions can be asked on these ratio values. Okay, so we have lot more to learn about these intergenic interactions, but we have only discussed only one today, complementary gene interactions. We have few more to learn, which we will be learning in the next classes, but for today we will revise complementary gene interactions once again. Here in complementary gene interactions, if both the genes are dominant, okay, then only the effect will be shown together. Both the genes, if they are separate, okay, let me make this clear, both the genes if they are separate, okay, if they are separate, then they will show the same character. Okay, P will show the same character, C will show the same character, that they are producing the white flowers if they are independent of each other. Okay, but if both are present in an individual, if both are present, capital C, capital P, both are present, then it would lead to a different character. If both the genes are separated, then they will produce the same character. If both are present together, then they will produce some other different character. Okay, so that is what we have observed. Capital C and capital P, when they are there together, they are producing purple flowers, or if there is no capital C or no capital P, they are producing white flowers only. So this is the ratio of purple to white flowers in the example we have taken, that is sweet pea Lathyrus odoratus. It is 9:7. Not only Lathyrus odoratus, all the other complementary gene interactions wherever we find, they will be having the same ratio 9:7. Okay, so this is all for today, students. In today's class we have learnt about dihybrid cross, we have learnt about the law of independent assortment, we have law of independent assortment we have learnt, okay, law of segregation we have learnt, and we have also learnt about complementary gene interaction. Okay, so this is all for today, students. We will meet in the next class with a continuation of these intergenic gene interactions. Okay, thank you all for joining the class. We will meet in the next class. Thank you all.